Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome to this short video training on the kind of like 101 of intermittent fasting, short training on how to start implementing intermittent fasting if you want to bring that into your life. My name is Margiela Prandy, and I am so freaking sold on the benefits that I've experienced personally, both in achieving and maintaining a weight that I never dreamed I would ever be able to achieve at this age of my life. But the more I've studied intermittent fasting and heard testimonials, I'm so impressed with the health benefits. So if you need a little more encouragement as to why intermittent fasting, pick up my Facebook Live, which is also here within this group. I did it a couple of days ago, and it's focused on the benefits of intermittent fasting. Now I want to help those who are interested in bringing intermittent fasting into their life know a little bit, answer a few of the questions. This is going to be an ongoing process. Intermittent fasting is now a way of life for me, and I've been doing it maybe a year and a half. And I've learned some stuff, and I've also mentored people through the process and helped them achieve phenomenal results with intermittent fasting. So first off, you know that as we've evolved, it's only in the last century or so that we actually have food available 24/7. We have perennially gone through times of feast and famine, right? Like there would be, cold and winter, and our ancestors, they would go hungry, right, until someone catches a buffalo or whatever, and then it's a feast. So feast and famine is a part of our evolutionary way of being. And we fast every single night, right? We wake up in the morning, and at some point we break fast. We break our fast. So this is just intermittent fasting is being a little bit more deliberate, and it starts with choosing your interval. By that I mean there will be certain hours of the day when you don't eat, and there'll be certain hours of the day when you do. So you choose that interval. And in choosing that interval, I'm going to encourage you to be a little bit aspirational. Don't just do what's easy 100%. I enjoy, and I think it's aspirational, but not impossible for just about everybody to do a 16-8. What that means is that you have 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. How that looks for me is that I start eating around 10 in the morning, and I stop at 6 p.m. So, then I have a 16-hour window when I don't eat, and a good part of that is spent sleeping, right? So a 16-8 is what I think works really well for me. And as you become more acquainted with intermittent fasting, you'll find that there are longer term fasts, and there are some pronounced benefits to a 24 or even a 48-hour fast. But we're not asking anybody to do anything that rigorous here. The benefits of, I think, let me just say, like, the two things I think probably most of us are going for in this intermittent fasting challenge is, one, we want to shed some pounds. Now, that's going to happen more easily when we teach our bodies to burn fat as fuel. What our bodies mostly go on is the food that we eat in the moment, right? And glucose that goes into our bloodstream and gives us the cells what they need for fuel. But then also the liver has a small store of glucose as glycogen that's there to draw on when the food supply is a little bit short. So until we exhaust those stores of glycogen in the liver, our body's not going to start burning fat as fuel. And so the reason for a fast is to teach your body to burn fat as fuel. And then the other benefit that comes from this is autophagy. Or autophagy, which is cellular death and renewal. Our bodies have a really hard time pulling that off well and completely when we are just shoving our face full all the time and we're eating around the clock. Now, in order to make this adjustment for myself, I'm a pretty early riser, sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock. And by about 6 or 7, I was having a protein shake. So all I had to do really is cut that out. In a minute, I'll tell you what you can have, and I'll give you some suggestions. But I cut that out. And then sometimes I think I would eat at 7 or 8, have a glass of wine with dinner. But now I stop at 6. In fact, I sometimes try to get that meal done by 4 or 5 even. Not that big of a modification, but as I mentioned in the Facebook Live that I did, I got down to 114 pounds for my wedding. So, I mean, just absolutely incredible. I never thought I'd ever see below 120 again. And this is just simply by making those modifications. So I recommend a 16-8. It's ambitious, but I think it's doable. Also, you can do a 12-12, right? You can stop eating at 6 and you can start eating at 6 again in the morning. It's not going to yield as dramatic results, but at least it is intermittent fasting and you're being deliberate about it. You can do a 14-10, right? So you can pick your interval. Let me recommend 16-8. Sometimes people do an 18-6, right? They don't start eating till noon and then they stop at 6. So you pick what works for you. But now let's move on to what can you consume during these intermittent fasting times. You can have black coffee. You can have green tea, or actually any herbal teas, as long as they don't have like little chunks of like little apple or whatever in them. You can have water, of course. And so I'll tell you what works really well for me. First thing in the morning, because I want to rehydrate after having slept, I have at least 8 ounces, sometimes 16 ounces of water. You can have hot lemon water, really, really, really delicious. And then black coffee. I really love our particular coffee because it gives me the mental focus that I need. And it also, on an empty stomach, because of the L-theanine in the Tetra blend, that's an ingredient thing, it offsets the jitteriness. And I tend to get a little jittery if I just have plain black coffee. But let me share with you some of the teas. Okay, so green tea, and you can have this hot or cold, right? Like sometimes I take a big handful of tea bags, I boil them, I cool it off, and then I have it over ice, right? So that's really satisfying. But green tea is especially good because it has some appetite suppressants. And black coffee is also good. Like say you do a little bit of exercise in the morning and you've had your black coffee. Caffeine is a thermogenic, so you're getting a little bit of fat burning going, even with just your beverages. I love these teas, this one and this one. You guys, they have, in fact, cinnamon is something that you can put in everything. You can put a little bit of herbs and stuff. Lemon is great, but I absolutely love fresh squeezed organic lemon. I love these teas because they have a little bit of a cinnamon taste, and both of these are decaffeinated. So, no caffeine in them, which I don't like to juice up on a ton of caffeine in the morning, right? So I love these because they're so satisfying and satiating because they have that taste of cinnamon, and cinnamon is fantastic in weight loss. So anyway, there are a few ideas. Now, can you have cream in your coffee? Technically, no, but let me share some a little bit of gray areas with you. We have this creamer, which is a grass-fed. It is a keto-friendly grass-fed grass-fed butter. And am I saying that even right? Yes, grass-fed butter. Why did that feel wrong for a minute? And then really high quality MCT oils. So technically, this is breaking the fast. And if your goal is weight loss, then this could actually be adding a little ketogenic benefit. I'm going to talk in a minute about the correlation and the benefits of mixing a keto type eating with your intermittent fasting. So also, you can add a teaspoon of milk or whole cream or half and half if it absolutely is essential. But I'm going to encourage you to just be a purist as much as you can. But if 1 teaspoon helps you stay the course, then go for it. Also, if you're feeling like, say you're doing a little bit longer fast, if you decide to do a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, bone broth, 100% bone broth. I've got a brand I really like. I can go grab it and show it to you. Also, if you want to just grab like a little handful of macadamia nuts, right? They're a great little, like, if you are just dying and you're like ready to break your fast, if you can't have a little morsel of something, go for a little handful of nuts. It's not going to set you way back. But if you can just stick with the coffee, the tea, and the black coffee, the tea, and water, then that's going to give you the most benefit. So now let's talk. Oh, first I want to also mention this. From my studies, what I've learned that when you choose your hours, this might not be possible if you're a shift worker, but when you choose those hours is almost as important as what you eat and don't eat during your eating window. And the reason for this is that the way we've evolved is that we eat during the day. Insulin is more easily triggered at night. And so say, for example, you start your eating at 10 and you don't stop until 10, you're not going to get 10 p.m. You're not going to get as good a result as somebody that is really stopping eating by 6 p.m. or whatever, right? So I just want you to know that when matters too, because insulin is one of those things that we're trying to not create a blood sugar, a dramatic, quick blood sugar rise and insulin coming in because it's a storage hormone. Everything gets stored to fat that can't be immediately used or stored as glycogen in the liver. So it matters that you don't go late into the night if you can help that. But these are your decisions, obviously. And then what I want to say also is the biggest challenge, I guess, for people is I'm starving. And day 2 is likely going to be the most difficult for a lot of people. I did not find any of this difficult. And it's because I did not, years ago, I began training my body to not hunger is just like it's a conditioned response, really. Because if you have 10 extra pounds on you, then you've got tons of units in storage of fat that will be as fuel. Like if you have 10 extra pounds, you have 35,000 units of food that you could be burning. If you have an extra 100 pounds or anywhere in between, if you have an extra 100 pounds, 350,000 units of fuel waiting to be burned. So you're not going to starve. But as we know from from our history or from our science classes way back when, that hunger is a conditioned response. Pavlov's dogs, right? They got used to hearing a bell. They'd begin to salivate. They got to the point where they would salivate when they saw somebody walk in with a white lab coat. And we're the same way. Sights, smells, the time of day trigger a hunger response, and we think we're going to die. Here's this: hunger pangs don't continue to escalate until you're dead. It just doesn't happen. Hunger comes in waves. So be ready with some hot or cold tea or coffees or whatever. Be ready with some of those things. So that when the hunger comes, you can do something about it and keep yourself busy. I know we've all had experiences where we look at the clock and it's 4 o'clock and we haven't eaten all day because we were so dang busy and focused on other things. So just remember that hunger is a conditioned response. And the reason I think I didn't find any of this difficult is because I didn't want my hunger to be a conditioned response. And I've worked with my body to really tune in and notice when I really am feeling hunger. Now, if you happen to experience anything like lightheadedness, Cynthia Collins shared this, and I think this is a really good idea. Feel free to ask any of us in the group. We're not experts, but some of us have been doing intermittent fasting for a while. You can have a little bit of Himalayan pink sea salt, and just put it in water, hot or cold water. And this will tend to, sometimes it's the minerals, a little bit of salt that we're missing if we get a little bit lightheaded. Okay, so there's a good, there is an app called Zero. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Here it is. Looks like that, okay? This will help you track, if you want something that can help you track your fasting and eating and all of that kind of stuff, it'll help you. So that's really good. And now let me just really quickly kind of talk about the correlation between keto. I guess I've already alluded to it a little bit. When I am, I've adapted my eating so that I eat not very many refined grains. I eat a lot of protein, green vegetables with healthy fats. I even will take a teaspoon of coconut oil sometimes. I eat a lot of grass-fed butter. The Kerrygold butter is the one that I use. And so I eat kind of a keto um, kind of a lifestyle. And the benefits of that is that we're trying once again to teach our body to burn fat for fuel. So if while we're doing that, we're stuffing our face full of donuts and bread and rice and potatoes and pasta, then we're never going to exhaust the glycogen stores in our liver. So we work in symbiosis with our body if we're wanting to get our body to burn fat as fuel by eating more fats and proteins because they burn slower, right? They break down much slower. The glycemic index across the board is lower for those items. Okay, so I think that I've answered most of the questions. Mainly, I just want to encourage you to get in and do this and have fun. Ask questions in the group. We're here to support you. We want to just, hold your hand every step of the way and share the things that we've learned that are helpful and maybe some of the products that can help support other aspects. If you're trying to shed pounds and your body is running extremely acid, you're more prone to disease, and and it's going to be harder to lose weight, shed pounds. And so maybe we can help you alkalize, or we can help you improve your gut health until you get your gut health in order. It's really hard to get to your ideal weight, and it does, you know life or death begins in the colon, right? I'm sure you guys know that. Anyway, just looking forward to this journey with you, and I'm going to get this uploaded now so that those who want to dive in and get a little more information today are going to be able to. All right, y'all, thank you for tuning in.